Hello and welcome to the Blytheway Morning Show on Core London TV. I'm Bonnie Hughes, Business Development Manager for Royal Haskoning DHV, and my very special guest today is Jeff Stanley. He is CEO of Panthera Resources. They have three very exciting projects, and the flagship project is in Rajasthan, India, and they've just overcome some great hurdles on the road towards getting their permitting. Nice to have you with us again today.
Thank you very much, Bonnie. It's nice to be back. I appreciate the opportunity.
And so what's been happening with your project in India? Things are on track.
Indeed, we've had some very good news over the course of the last month with respect to permitting in India. We have reached an agreement some time ago with the government of Rajasthan regarding the grant of a prospecting licence there, so we can commence drilling again on the major discovery we've made. And most recently, we've dropped all the court cases as part of that overall agreement, and we have a High Court order from the High Court of Rajasthan giving the state government until the 29th of April to make a final decision on the grant of a prospecting licence. So we've been through that process, we've agreed the grant of a licence, and we're anticipating a positive result before the 29th of April.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. And so then now you've been moving forward on your projects in West Africa with an exploration program. Please tell us what's going on with those projects.
That is correct, yes. We're actively exploring in West Africa now. We have two projects in Mali, in southern Mali, and one in Burkina Faso. And the one in Burkina Faso we've actually started quite actively exploring over the course of the last couple of months, the beginning of the year, in preparation for drilling targets in the second quarter. So we have identified a major new, it looks like quite an interesting zone of artisanal workings on the western side of one of our licences there at Naton. It appears to be about 1.5 kilometres long, and there's some very interesting historical drill results we've found in the records as well. So that's looking quite exciting, and we're now preparing to more closely define the drill targets for the second quarter.
And are you defining them through geophysics or twinning holes? What are you doing with that?
That's correct. It'll be mostly geophysics and geochemistry. We've just commenced a major soil geochemical survey over the area of interest there. We have another major soil anomaly we will be drilling as well that has historical ore grade intersections on it. So we're basically using geochem and geophysics to more closely define drill targets that we'll be drilling in the second quarter.
That's always a good idea.
Indeed.
And do you have access to the core, the historical core that's been drilled?
In many of the areas we do. Most of them we don't have core for. Some of the more interesting sections were actually they were RAB drilling samples, so there was no actual core involved. But there's some pretty fancy intersections in some of them. There was one RAB hole. We found it was 22 metres at about 13 grams. It had never really been followed up. So we're excited about the opportunity to get out and be following those up in some detail.
Well, 2 meters at 13 grams, that's you don't see that very often.
That's a very nice RAB hole, and yes, we'll be looking for extensions of that and try and zero in and turn it into something substantial.
I guess it's still too early days to figure out what type of deposit it is, or have you got some idea?
It's very typical greenstone geology, much like throughout the rest of West Africa. We have nice structural settings and the right kind of geology for the greenstone terrains. So it'll be typical greenstone style gold mineralisation, much as you see in Western Australia and parts of South America and West Africa are major greenstone terrains.
Well, it's always good to be in an area where there is mining companies that are producing and very successfully. So Burkina Faso is a good.
It's a great jurisdiction. That's right. I've been involved in a number of companies that have been active in Burkina Faso in the past, and it is a good jurisdiction to be working in. They're very pro mining. The legislative framework and the mining code is all conducive to developing assets, and so we're quite happy to be there.
And are you close to any current producing mines?
At Naton in Burkina Faso, it's not immediately adjacent to any existing producing mines, but in Mali, one of our projects is quite close to a couple of deposits that are, multi-million ounce deposits. So, we're playing closeology there, but we've got a very nice soil anomaly about 6 kilometres long in that instance at the Basala property, which we'll be following up later on in the year as well.
And so are you sort of exploring in Burkina Faso and Mali, sort of congruently, or?
Correct. We have, of the 3 projects, the Naton project in Burkina Faso is the most advanced. So there we expect to be drilling in the second quarter, and with the Kalaka and Basala properties in southern Mali, we're advancing those towards the same kind of target definition programs over the course of the next 6 months for drilling later in the year, hopefully.
And so once you do get the permitting on your project in Rajasthan, what will be one of the first things you'll do? More exploration drilling?
Well, that's correct. If the permitting comes through as expected, we would be moving straight to drilling. The Geological Survey of India has done quite a lot of work on the property area that will be granted, and they've defined quite clearly zones of mineralisation. We have a good understanding of where the mineralisation trends, the location on the ground to place drill rigs. So we'll be drilling immediately to bring those resources up to a JORC compliant code. The Geological Survey of India actually published a report back in 2014 from the area. They outlined a resource of 106 million tonnes at 2 grams, or 6.7 million ounces on the property. So we've certainly got a great target to chase. It's, that resource is not JORC compliant, but for us it's an exploration target that's very well defined, and we'll be drilling on it pretty much straight away as soon as we get the permits.
And so I guess the government also must be looking to the future and the fact that you would be hiring local people, local communities, and helping benefit.
That's correct. It is in quite a poor area in remote Rajasthan, so it will have a big impact on the local community. It's a very positive. The mining industry can be a remarkably positive agent for change in remote and poorer areas of the world, and I think this will be a very good example of that, yes.
And I suppose because, in India they're very big on gold, they must have quite a good knowledge of mining and mining techniques. And
They have a very well-developed mining industry, but interestingly, for a country that consumes so much gold, mostly in the form of jewellery, they have virtually no gold production. I think they consume more than 10 times the amount of gold they actually produce, which is an interesting anomaly, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to be able to change that balance.
Well, it makes a lot of sense for that to happen.
Indeed.
And so going forward, Burkina and Mali, can we expect some news flow on some drill results over the next few months?
Indeed, yes. We are planning drilling for the April-May timeline, so before the middle of the year we would anticipate having drill results to be announced. We'll also be making announcements about the commencement of drilling, the nature of targets that we will be drilling. So yes, towards the April, May, June timeline, I would expect there'll be announcements of various sorts regarding preparations for drilling results when they're coming through. And over that timeline as well, we should get some additional feedback regarding the permitting process in Rajasthan.
And so you were just recently in Cape Town for the mining conferences, and so did you have some good meetings with potential investors while you were there?
I did. There were a lot of interested investors, obviously with a focus on Africa. Most of the interest was in the West African exploration projects, but it seems as though there is a lot of interest across the industry as a whole, both from the investment community and also industry itself, in terms of doing joint venture deals, looking to acquire properties, looking to sell properties. So it was a busy conference, and a lot of positive momentum and a good feel about it in terms of the direction of the industry.
Which is so nice after such a drought in the mining industry
That's
for the
right.
past few years.
We had a very long drought. It was difficult to raise capital for many years, but that seems to have turned around now, and I sense that we are entering a much more positive equities environment. Capital availability will be better, market ratings will likely be better. So yes, I'm quite optimistic about the outlook for the industry as a whole as well.
And so potentially, once you announce if you got a permit on the Rajasthan property, it could sort of help with lifting your share price in the sense that now you can start moving the project forward faster.
Indeed, I would hope that it had a positive impact on the share price. It's a very substantial asset, and quite clearly, India is a difficult bureaucracy to work in. But we've been there for a long time. We've had great success in the courts and in negotiation with the bureaucracy. It's taken us a long time, but we're very close to getting the right kinds of decisions from the Rajasthan government and ultimately from the government of India. Once they come through, I would anticipate a re-rating because it's a very substantial resource we're looking to test.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Jeff, and we'll keep an eye on the stock and on the news and the potential of all your projects, and look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Core London Blytheway Mining Show. Make sure you do your research and your homework and minimize your losses and maximize your returns. Thank you.